we're back. Thank y'all for joining me again. Football starts, boys. Technically, college football just started, but last week, it was a little something, but it wasn't enough for me. So this week, we're really back this week. Couple big games, but we're talking NFL. So we got another week to go for NFL. We're going to do the NFC North. If you've been following along with us, we've been previewing every division for the NFL. On the hedge with Double D.
The hedge with Double D.
So thank you for joining me again on the hedge with Double D. Tony, Colin, as always, thanks for joining me.
My pleasure, it, man. We're talking NFC North. I feel good. I got my swag on. I'm ready.
Go. Oh man. That's all right. We've been doing so much work tonight. I forgot to put my Packers jersey on. Maybe I'll edit something in later. But I've got enough behind me. I think that should.
Yeah, you got it.
I'll be okay.
You got it covered.
All right, we'll see. If we take a break tonight, it'll be because I ran up to get my Packers jersey. We'll see. So NFC North. The NFC North, they all play the NFC South. So that's going to make for some interesting games between a couple teams. A couple of bad teams maybe trying to get that over on their over-under total. And then they also play the AFC West, which is going to be a lot tougher. So probably a couple of easy games with the NFC South and then a couple of tough games with the AFC West. Excuse me. We'll start with Chicago. Go alphabetical order. Chicago last year obviously had the number one pick. They're the worst team. They traded it away to the Panthers, finishing fourth in their division. They get to play the other fourth place teams. So they get to play the Cardinals and at Washington, and then they also get to go to Cleveland. So kind of a favorable schedule with the Cardinals and Washington. But otherwise, I don't know, man. Watching Chicago a lot last year as a Packers fan, just wanting to see them lose. Justin Fields is definitely legit. I think he's an amazing athlete. He's like Lamar Jackson out there running like crazy. He had plenty of really bad passing games, though, so I don't know how complete of a quarterback he is. If he puts it together, he's going to be really good. They're going to be pretty good, but I don't know if they've added enough to be a good team yet. Their over-under is 7.5 games. They only won 3 last year, so 7.5 is kind of going to be a big jump up from only winning 3. They had a lot of close games last year. I think they had 3 in a row that was like within like 3 points. But they added DJ Moore as receiver, so that's going to be a huge addition. They added Robert Tonyan from the Packers at tight end. They drafted Darnell Wright to help with the bad offensive line. And they got a little bit of linebacker help with Tremaine Edwards and someone else I can't remember. But they got their linebackers got better, but otherwise it seems like it's gonna come down to Justin Fields and DJ Moore making a lot of magic on offense. Their offensive line's not very good. Their defensive line's not very good. They're not going to get a lot of pressure. Their defense in general is pretty bad. So man, I don't know. And looking at their schedule, I see them getting a couple more wins here and there, but the more I was looking at it, I was like, I could see them 5 wins going into that last game against Green Bay. So honestly, I think they get better, but I don't think they get that much better. I think Chicago still goes under 7.5. So that'll be my first pick of the night. I've got the Bears going under 7.5. Keep in mind, I am a Packers fan, so the Bears still suck. But I think 7.5 is a little bit high for them. Justin Fields might not play well in his second year. He might have a little sophomore slump action, and then they're going to be really bad. So, Tony, let's not get two Packers fans reactions in a row on the Bears. So we'll put Tony in the middle. Tony, what do you think about the Bears 7.5 on the over under there?
Well, you might as well call me a Packers fan because I'm going to go on the under for the Bears as well. I agree with you. I think Justin Fields, he's fun to watch. I think this is going to be a big telling year for his career. I think if he can make that leap and make better decisions, I think he can really be a force in this league, a future MVP candidate potentially. But he's got to work on that kind of stuff because physically throwing the ball, he's all right. It's all up here. But man, that defense is just so bad. It's abysmal. Probably one of the worst in the league, honestly. So I don't think they're going to just, like you said, Dawson, I think they'll probably win a couple games more than they did last year. They'll probably win a game that they probably weren't supposed to, upset somebody, but overall, they're not a playoff team. They're not going to get even close. I don't think they're going to get that close to a 500 record. So, yeah, give me the under on the Bears.
All right, 2 unders, yeah. Colin, you going to keep the under streak going? What are you thinking?
Yeah, so I think the NFC North is really interesting from the perspective that all of these teams I think they're going to all be really, really close to what their number actually is. This is the second year with the coordinator, Luke Getsky. So you got to think there's going to be a little bit of development for Fields, but Dawson touched on it. The Bears defense is going to be just so bad. I don't think you're going to have a lot of situations where you're getting good, field to play starting for Fields. So I counted it up that they go 7-10. I think it's just barely under. I looked on FanDuel. The under is plus 100. So there's at least some good value to just the assumption that, hey, Bears still suck. Obviously, keep that. There is, a couple things that are making me think that being a Packers fan myself. But I just don't think they have enough tools in the shed for it to happen. And you really have to hope that Fields does not get hurt at all for 17 games and he just absolutely balls out for 8 games. If you think that's going to happen, you bet on his health, go for the over. But for me personally, I think it's a 7-10, 6-11 team. So I'm going under as well. I know we're all three in agreement on that.
All right. Well,
and one thing I will add about Justin Fields, if you're a fantasy football player, if you can snag him, man, I think he's going to have a good year. I think he's going to put up some numbers as long as he can stay healthy.
Yep.
Not saying that's going to translate to wins, but
look at that. I was going to say the same thing, that pick him up on fantasy, but the fantasy points won't mean wins. Look at that. Me and Tony on the same wavelength. All right. But all three of us are under the hedge.
Under the hedge.
So it calls for a little music, huh? Or a little sounder, sorry. All right, 3 under the hedge, 3 the Bears still suck. I like the start of this show. Let's keep it going. All right, the Detroit Lions. Kind of everybody's new favorite underdog team. Everybody loves Dan Campbell. Everyone is believing in the Lions. They sold out their season tickets for the first time and maybe forever. Good for them, as an arrogant Packers fan, good for you, Detroit. Not that we have a 78-year waiting list or anything. But it's good to see the guys wearing bags on their heads have a good year. But having said all that, I won't go first. I'll let Tony go first in the Lions. But before I let Tony go, the Lions, they finished second in the conference, or in the division, at 9-8, beating the Packers, knocking us out of the playoffs. Ooh, that hurt. That was ugly. But they didn't make the playoffs. But finishing second, they get to play the Seahawks. They go to the Ravens and to the Cowboys. So a pretty tough schedule in terms of the 3 extra games there. And their total wins is 9.5. So, Tony, what are your thoughts on the Lions?
Man, I'm going to smash that over I
Yeah.
think the Lions are going to have at least 10 wins, like bare minimum. Um, they've made some additions on the defensive side of the ball. I think that'll get a little bit better. Still not at a top 10 defense in the league, but enough to make them not lose games because of them. Which really, if you have an offense like that, that's all you can really ask for on defense. I think Jared Goff, he got a lot of disrespect, and I think he's a solid quarterback. I think he's made it to a Super Bowl. So, I think he's going to be an efficient player again this year. Another sleeper fantasy quarterback option right there. But I do think his game will translate to wins. They have a lot of young, electrifying skill players on that side of the ball. I know Jameson Williams has to serve a 6-game suspension, but when he gets back, the addition of Jahmyr Gibbs and obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown, they got some weapons on that side of the ball. So I'm really looking forward to watching them play. I think they'll be a fun team to watch, and I think they're a contender for a top 3 seed in the conference. I don't see why not. I don't think they're just going to sneak in or anything. I think they're going to earn their spot. So give me the Lions over.
All right. Lions over. All right, I like it. Colin.
They've waited long enough. It's their turn.
Seriously, especially to win a playoff game. Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, I was being mean or whatever. I wouldn't mind if someone's got to win. That's not the Packers. I'd rather be the Lions and a bunch of other teams. So
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, so looking at it, the Lions have the 11th easiest schedule in the NFL. Everybody and their mother seems to be penciling them in for at least the NFC Championship, it seems like. But I just personally think that they are just a little bit further away. That defense still needs some retooling and stuff like that. And as much as everybody loves our mega coffee drinking Dan Campbell, I just think that they're missing a couple pieces. And so I've actually got them under 9.5 wins. I've got them sitting at 9 and 8 respectively. I do think that, and I also, the reason being is I am a Packers fan, so I do have to admit that, and I have them splitting the Packers games as well as splitting the Vikings games. So if they go undefeated on one of those sides of the ball, you've got an over on it. But I just think the fact that everybody seems to be going over, I'm going to zag on it and say that they're under. They hit 9 and 8. But to that point, I think the fact that the NFC is such a weird division or weird conference, this year, I think that they could still get in the wild card spot and still potentially get in the playoffs. So I think the fans can still have a lot to hope for, even if they hit the under. So I'm going to go under on the Lions.
Okay, under on the Lions. Yep, Colin kind of going against the grain there because, like you said, everybody loves the Lions. They are.
How can you not? They've never hurt anyone.
Yeah, they're definitely the NFC darlings for sure.
One of their, was it Suh? I think it was Suh. He stomped on a Packers lineman on Thanksgiving Day.
He did. That was not very thankful at all.
Yeah.
Oh,
man. So yeah, I don't know. I don't like the Lions, but they always do seem to mess up when the time comes. But they do seem to have a new culture. I don't know what you want to call it with Dan Campbell there, I guess. I don't really think Dan Campbell's a great coach, but he seems to get them believing in everything.
They need to bring back those old school jerseys. The jerseys that they got right now are some mid.
Yeah.
It's too much back. Get that out of here.
Yeah, their colors in
general. You ain't in a Maybach? Come on.
Always been ugly. They've got a tough schedule. But there's also I feel like I see a bunch of wins on there too.
Yeah, they're right in the middle because they've got so for the NFC East, the Bears have the 6th easiest, the Lions have the 11th, Packers have the 14th, and the Vikings have 25th. So they've actually got a pretty tough schedule.
Okay.
And I got that from a Warren Sharp football focus or whatever.
Okay. Well, I mean, okay, so the Lions they added C.J. Garner-Johnson and Cam Sutton to help with the cornerback situation. They drafted a running back and they added David Montgomery. I mean, so they've got a very solid all-around team. They're not like a bunch, no really people that stand out like Goff. He's good enough. Amon-Ra St. Brown seems to be really good. Maybe not a superstar, but very good. And they've got a couple pieces. And their offensive line may be the best in the league. So
Yes, they do. They have a great offensive line.
So that's really the big thing for them. Later, I want to go back and look at these odds to just make the playoffs or not, whether you're winning the division or not, especially for the Bears. But they're at minus 165 just to make the playoffs, which I think is pretty good odds. Obviously, plus 140 to win the division, I think is the smarter choice there. But having said that, I think they're going to go over. I think they're a pretty good team. And I think they've got a pretty winnable schedule. I think they're going to sweep the Bears. And like you said, I think they'll split with the Vikings, maybe split with the Packers, and then kind of sweep the NFC South. And I think I see 10 or 11 wins there. But I don't see them doing anything in the playoffs. If we're going to talk about the future, I think they maybe win a game. I don't think they're going to do much in the playoffs. I think they're going to lose a lot of games to better teams and then beat up the not as good teams. Kind of like the Giants last year almost. But again, I see them going over. I see them winning the division probably, and then kind of fizzling out in the playoffs. But a lot of it, like Tony said, Jared Goff, a lot of it comes down to Jared Goff. Is he going to keep stepping it up? Is he going to be really good? Can he lead them past some of these other teams, score enough points? And is the defense going to kind of step it up a little bit? I don't know. I don't really trust the Lions, but I still think they'll get over 9.5 wins.
With the QB depth chart, if he gets sacked and somebody kind of steps on his ankle or whatever, the backups, you got Teddy Two Gloves, Teddy Bridgewater, and you got Nate Sudfeld. Sudfeld is actually ahead of old Teddy Two Gloves.
That's the best nickname. I love that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I bet I thought Hendon Hooker was there, but they've got
He's in Minnesota, I think.
No, he's there. He is there. He's his third string. He's just not going to play. But no, and then they've also got Adrian Martinez, I think, and the guy that felt like he was at Nebraska for like 12 years. That's funny. So they've got a very deep quarterback room there. But yes, Teddy Two Gloves. That is funny. All right. So the Lions. We'll see what happens with them. That brings us to Green Bay Packers, the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, baby. Oh, I need to get my cheese head for this. But bringing the energy down a little bit, the Packers are not thought to be very good this year. Most people are thinking they're not going to be good at all. Some people like Mina Kimes is saying like they might fight for a playoff spot, a little wild card spot. Some people aren't very high on the Vikings. And then the NFC in general is not very good. But it's going to be all about Jordan Love. I'm going to let Colin start with this. This works out well. We can go back-to-back pack. The Packers, they finished third in the division with a very sad ending, losing to the Lions, going 8-9, not making the playoffs. Obviously, we lost Aaron Rodgers. The biggest news of since the Brady news, basically. We lost Aaron Rodgers. We lost Lazard and Cobb. We lost Robert Tonyan, which we mentioned earlier, and Mercedes Lewis. We lost Dean Lowry. We lost a lot of starters and just a lot of players. And we didn't add a lot besides the draft, which is kind of what the Packers do. They drafted Lucas Van Ness to kind of take Lowry's spot on the edge. We drafted a couple of tight ends, and then Jaden Reed as a receiver might come in and play as like a fourth string there. But they're a super young team. Jordan Love, obviously playing in his first like full season. He's been in the backup for like 3 years, but still young. We've got good running backs. Our receivers are super young between Watson and Dobbs and Jaden Reed. I mean, like a super young, but still seemingly very talented receivers. We've got a lot of names on defense that were good high draft picks that haven't all played up to their draft status. And then I think as a fellow Packers fan, you'll admit we finally have a really good returner, which we haven't had like in ever, it feels like, in like the last 20 years. With Keyshawn Nixon, we finally have a guy that can actually take the ball back, which is exciting, which I feel like we're usually just don't fumble it. That's all I want. So maybe that'll help win a game or two. But obviously, the big questions are going to be quarterback. They're going to be the receivers, in tune with the quarterback. Are they seasoned enough? Can the defense play like they're supposed to play? So again, the Packers 7.5. Colin, I'll let you pick first. 7.5 over under on the Pack.
Yeah, so full transparency, I know a lot of times that you have to, say that, hey, I've got divested interest in, this stock or that stock, whatever. I am a shareholder, one shareholder of the Packers. So technically you're talking to a Packers owner right now.
Oh.
And with that being said, I'm looking at the schedule and I keep seeing 17 wins and 0 losses. It's the damnedest thing. No, but seriously, 7.5 wins to Dawson's point, minus 122 on the over. I am thinking that we have a little Ewing theory going on right now, much like Bill Simmons talked about of, Patrick Ewing back in the day. He was loved by the Knicks and he leaves. They didn't really do a lot with Ewing. And then when he leaves, they actually had more success. So I think personally that the Aaron Rodgers thing is actually going to be a positive thing for that locker room, because you could definitely tell towards the end of it, just like him and Mike McCarthy, LaFleur and him kind of were, bumping heads. They said that they enjoyed it. They said they liked ribbing each other, but I think it's just one of those things that LaFleur wants to run his offense the way he wants to run it, and especially not changing things up in the line, which Rodgers is so good at doing. I do think it's close. I am going over on this one. I think that you're essentially saying like, hey, can the Packers win eight games to hit the over? And I think the answer is yes. I don't think they're going to set the world on fire. I think at best, personally, what I'm hoping for is that they get 9-8 and get in the wild card and have a close game. But I wouldn't be surprised if they get 8 wins. I do think that they hit the over on this one. They've got the 14th easiest schedule. So, I mean, that's middling. You're not really kind of getting anywhere with that. And yeah, I just think that without Rodgers in the building, he wasn't lighting the world on fire last year, and they won 8 games. So you just got to hope that Love is, good enough to get the job done. So yeah, over.
All right, Colin's got the over. All right. I like that. I agree with a lot of what you said. Kind of aiming for that 9-8, make the playoff, or you want to go like 4 or 5 wins and get, the 3rd or 4th draft pick and get some either someone else on defense or some help on offense. So the Pack, I mean, man.
Say it, just do it. I
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Feel it.
17
Feel good.
There we go. Yeah. Like I said, man, they lost. I don't know. They're going to be super young. They're going to have a lot of growing pains. I think they're going to lose a couple games that they shouldn't lose. They have a streak here where they go Steelers, Chargers, Lions, Chiefs, Giants, and they could lose all 5 of those, which scares me.
Damn.
Man, I'm seeing like 6 or 7 wins really. I think this is going to be a rebuilding year for the Pack. It hurts me to say it, but I'm going to emotionally hedge and go under And if we do go over, I'll be happy.
Traitor.
The Packers fan. So
Unbelievable.
emotionally hedging. What it is. I don't know. Prove me wrong, you know.
I love to get my heart broken, so I'm ready for
Yeah.
I'm ready for it.
I'll still
What
be.
is it? I'm ready to be hurt again.
Absolutely.
I'd rather lose money and then win games, so I'm happy with that too. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's just what I see. I mean, like I will say it will be interesting because, like you said, we really haven't seen LaFleur's offense yet because Rodgers changed so much. So we'll see. Is it going to be good enough for Love back there? Is Christian Watson going to step up and be like top 10 receiver? And Dobbs going to step up and be like top 20? Maybe. I mean, like I wouldn't be that surprised if they do somehow sneak in 8-9 wins, make the playoffs, and then get destroyed by someone in the playoffs. But I don't think this division. I don't think the Lions are going to be dominant. So I don't think. They're probably going to split between all three of these teams in the division. So wouldn't surprise me, but I'm excited. So let's go, Pack. Let's go, Jordan Love. Prove me wrong. 17-0, best season ever. Beat the Jets and Rodgers in the Super Bowl. All right, Tony. 17-0. What are your thoughts?
I'm kind of leaning more towards 16-1 this year. Yeah. Yeah, but in all seriousness, though, excuse me, I'm gonna have to agree with Colin on what he said that I think Aaron Rodgers leaving could be a great thing for the franchise. You know how I feel about Aaron Rodgers. It's not about his skill as a quarterback. It's about his I don't know, I just feel like he's been a cancer to his team the last couple of years. Like, oh, trade me. No, don't trade me. I'm retiring. No, I'm not. Just like they need someone that's going to be all in that can actually lead the team and lead the players in the locker room. Is that Jordan Love? I'm not saying that. It might be like a position player or a defensive player that kind of steps up and takes command of the locker room and really leads them. But I'm going to go over on the Packers. They've got by far the best defense in the division. And they have a lot of weapons on offense. As long as Jordan Love is competent and he's not throwing interceptions left and right and stuff, I mean, I really think, like Colin said, they can get 8 wins. That's all they got to get. Do I think they're going to win the Super Bowl or even win the division? No. But I think they're good enough. And like you said, they're young. So I think the future is actually really bright in Green Bay, although they just lost their former MVP and Super Bowl winning quarterback, all that. I think better days are to come for them. So give me the over on the Packers. It's going to be fun watching them this year.
Mm-hmm. Colin, I think best case scenario is we win like 6 games. Jordan Love looks really good. We sign him to a future contract. And then we use that 7th or 8th pick to get somebody to help out. And then next year, we kind of go all in with our team. And we lose a bunch of close games, something like that this year, because I think even if like best case scenario, that doesn't involve like tanking or whatever, that would be sliding in as a wild card team and probably losing in the first round, which I'd also be happy and excited with and have a great season doing that too. So
just give me something to root for week to week to week.
Yeah. Yep.
And I mean, with Rodgers, like, Tony touched on it, like just kind of being a, turd in the punch bowl, so to speak. I've never met someone that ate a bunch of mushrooms and got more egotistical. So that's, that makes me nervous.
Seriously. And maybe that comes with being, I don't know, up in that echelon of celebrity athlete status, but yeah, it's hard to have like an ego death and then come out with a bigger ego. I also think, like, I'm a big Rodgers fan in terms of just as a Packers fan. I think the front office was terrible during his whole time here. So I get why he was pushed off against them. But yeah, he probably could have been he could have been a better leader.
Yeah, Gutekunst has definitely not been the best person for the job. That's for sure.
There's been some hits on draft picks, but like the whole Jordan Love thing is just like that was the beginning of the end. we literally could have. There's the whole like trading backward, trading forward, and all that. We literally were close. We could have gotten Justin Jefferson if we actually traded.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was just thinking about. Like that, you know, two years ago or whatever that draft was. I was literally like so excited for all of the wide receivers that were still open, and then
Yep.
we picked.
I mean, just imagine that. Imagine Justin Jefferson for like those couple of years with him. We could. I mean, that totally different story. But either way, past is the past. I hope Jordan Love is the future. So we'll see. Go Pack.
That's right.
Moving on to the Vikings. Let's do the Vikings. I'll start on them. Over under is 8.5 games. So obviously a big drop off. Everyone kind of thinks they're going to drop off from a 13-win season last year. They lost Patrick Peterson. They lost Adam Thielen. They lost Dalvin Cook. So basically, you know, is Kirk Cousins going to continue to be good enough to get that big contract, but not good enough to win big games? Is he going to finally win the big game and really earn a big contract, or are they going to move on from him after he has a disappointing season? They've got a tough schedule. They go to Philadelphia, they play the Niners, and they go at Cincinnati. So they've got a tough schedule. Still 8.5 wins. I think they're going to split. I think they're going to split with the Pack. I think they're going to split with the Lions and probably beat the Bears both times. Maybe sweep the NFC South. I still see a lot of wins here. I see 9 or 10 wins again with the Vikings. I think at 290 they're a really good value to win the division. They added a couple of guys in the secondary, Murphy and Davenport. And then they drafted Jordan Addison as a receiver to help out. So it's all going to come down to, can Kirk Cousins, can Justin Jefferson, Hawkinson, can they put up enough points and the defense be good enough? They've got a couple of good guys on the line there on defense. And I mean, honestly, I don't know, man. Everybody's super down on the Vikings. And I don't think they're going to be any sort of like Super Bowl contender, but I think 8.5 is a little bit low. I see them winning 9, maybe 10 games, and I see them competing for the division. Kind of coming down that last game with the Lions, and I think that there's a reason they scheduled it like that. I think the Lions and the Vikings are going to be kind of competing for that division in that last game there. So I'm going to say over on the Vikings. Tony, I feel like I remember earlier in this summer you saying that the Vikings are like your team that you're going to drop big time.
That I was going to what?
That you kind of saw having a big drop off.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially seeing their schedule. They're not going to win any of those games against the 1 seeds or division winners. Let's get that going. Give me the under on the Vikings this year. Their defense did not get better. That was the worst part about their team last year. And they lost some big names on offense. I know you still have Justin Jefferson, but at the end of the day, you have Kirk Cousins. You better hope you're never playing in prime time because you're going to lose that game. So give me the under on the Vikings. I have a hard time trusting them.
Yeah, let me count the primetime games because that's a big deal. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2.
And hopefully none of them are against easy teams because they'll be losing games they shouldn't be losing.
I see 5 primetime games, including the Packers and the Bears and the Broncos.
That's 2 and 3 at best.
Yeah, and then
at best, yeah.
The Niners and the Eagles. Yeah, I mean, oh man. Yeah, we'll see. I think though that's when Kirk Cousins. I think the more and more we doubt Cousins, the better he'll play. He's kind of got that like mentality, that you like that, how you like that mentality. As much as I don't like the Vikings, but I kind of like Kirk Cousins.
Dude, that was so cringy when he did that.
The dance with like all the jewelry and stuff.
No, or that too, but coming down the hallway like, you like that?
Oh yeah, I love that. Dude, he was talking to the owner. I love, man, the labor sticking in the face of the owner. Like,
See, it reminds me of another Minnesota person named Carl Anthony Towns, where we in Minnesota now.
We in Minnesota
now.
now. Gotta hate that guy.
Crying after making the playoffs.
Acting like they won the damn finals. All right, unrelated. Sorry.
All right.
All
Actually,
right, so
hey, wait,
I
Colin,
think
we're about
that
Colin, we're about to run out of time. Let's end it.
yeah.
Come back and we'll let you give us your thoughts.
Colin, we don't care about your thoughts.
Yeah. See ya.
That's okay.
All right, Colin. Finish it off with us with Minnesota. Again, 8.5 is the over-under on wins. Where are you going with the Vikings?
Yeah, so last year they had 13 wins, and that sounds awesome. But if you look a little bit closer, they had, I think it was 8 games that were literally one score, very, very close. So that could have been looking a lot uglier. They have a tough schedule. The 25th easiest, so 7th hardest schedule. I think it's going to be real close. I could see them going 9 wins and getting that over, but I'm going to give me the plus money at the under. FanDuel is showing plus 104. The over is minus 128 on FanDuel. So give me under 8 and 9 wins. The NFC is going to be real weird, obviously, this year. And we've already mentioned it before, but they're playing the AFC West, and that's not going to be a fun division to dance on. So give me the under. The fact that you lose Dalvin Cook, you lose Adam Thielen, and you've got to think that not only is obviously a corner going to be locked on Jefferson, but they could swing a free safety and just basically say, hey, you're going to spy on him the whole time. So give me the under. I think it's close. 8 and 9. Yeah.
All right, man. All right. Colin, you got a lot of unders. So you got the division winner winning 9 games, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's going to be, I think the NFC North is going to be like the ugliest in terms of who actually gets out of there. I don't think it's going to be a, 11, 12 win team that's, shining bright. I think it's going to be ugly. So, yeah.
All right. Maybe a little tie here or there. A little 8-1 to win the division.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the most like Lions thing, or honestly, Lions, Vikings, or Bears. Oh my. To lose the over on a tie.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and pick. We're gonna pick division winners, but first, just looking at these teams to make the playoffs. And these aren't official picks, but if you look at the Bears on DraftKings, just to make the playoffs, yes is plus 155 and no is minus 180. I think minus 180 is like crazy good odds for them not to make the playoffs. I think there's no way to make the playoffs. I mean, even if they go over and win 8 games, it's probably not going to be a wild card spot. So I think minus 180 is pretty good odds there. Tony, you said looks like you agree with that. You said
What?
You said, do you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Yeah, I think that minus 180, it's like sure money right there.
Yeah.
Like that's easy money. And honestly, I'm surprised them make like, I don't know, maybe I'm just biased because the Bears are the Bears, but yeah, I think those odds should be a lot different on both sides there.
Yeah. It's interesting, Colin, the Packers are plus 180 to make the playoffs, where the Bears are only plus 155. So they think it's more likely the Bears make it. I think it's much more likely the Packers make it.
Yeah.
I don't think either make it, but I think it's more likely the Pack make it.
I agree. I think you get with the Packers, you just gotta hope for the wild card berth. That's
Yep. But then they're minus 210 to not make it. And then with the Vikings, their yes to make the playoffs is plus 115. So again, that might be something interesting to look at. I could see them winning the division, or at the very least sneaking in the wild card spot there at plus 115. Not bad. But let's now make our official picks on the division winner. Tony, I'm gonna let you go
Yes.
first. The non-Packer fan, you go first. Who's gonna win this division? Let me know if you need the odds, but Lions.
I don't need no stinking odds.
Okay.
This is easy. Give me the Lions.
All
They
right.
are going to do it. They are going to snap their 31-year streak. They're going to win a playoff game, too. They have not won a playoff game since I have been breathing and on this earth. That ends this year.
That ends now. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't even be surprised if they won 2 games in the playoffs.
Oh,
Yeah.
my guy.
Detroit playing in the NFC Championship. You heard it here first.
Against who, Sweet Tea? Against who?
Eagles.
Eagles.
Going to
You
Yeah.
think, you
No
think
one's
the
beating the
Lions,
Eagles this year.
Yeah.
You think the Lions beat Brock Purdy?
Yep. I'm actually writing down my predictions for the playoffs, and I've got the Lions in the 2 seed.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I think San Francisco is going to come to town thinking they got an easy route to the NFC Championship. No, you do not.
Oh
No
my.
one gets through Detroit, baby.
Motor City.
Tony, next time you go to the grocery store, you need to get yourself a paper bag and hold on to that baby for a little while.
Yeah, probably. Hey. It's all about hot takes, man. That's what it's all about.
It's not. I mean, it's not the hottest. People are saying it. It could happen. I don't see it. I don't trust the Lions in the playoffs, but I'll go ahead and jump in here. Man, I'm really torn between the Lions and the Vikings. I think the Lions are going to take the step. The Lions, everyone believes in them. I think them to make the playoffs at minus 165 is a good bet. I think they'll at least slide in the wild card. They're going to win 10 games. But I think Minnesota wins 10. I think I'm going to go with the Vikings. I just can't pick the Lions.
No.
I have no faith in the Lions. I think they're
Purple people eaters.
they're just, I mean, the Vikings aren't a bad team. They're still a good team. They've lost a couple players. 8.5 is super low, but I still
Dawson, I have a question for you.
Yep.
As a big Packers fan, who would you rather be your team's quarterback, Kirk Cousins or Jared Goff? If you could trade one of them straight up for Jordan Love right now, who would you do?
I would take Kirk Cousins.
Really?
Yeah.
Colin, what about you?
I would take Jared Goff because I don't think I could watch 17 weeks of dink, 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 dink. And when you have to win, my man throws a 6-yard pass when he needs a first down.
Yeah.
He's
Just-
had yeah. I still think I'd take Cousins. I think he's more proven. He's played really well. And he's also had
What has Cousins done that Goff hasn't already done?
I mean, Goff has went to the Super Bowl with a great defense and like not doing that much. And then still with the Lions, it's still like it doesn't look like he's doing a lot. It's like you talk about dink and dunk, he's hitting little things to Amon-Ra, who's taking it for like 80 yards. I mean, I don't know. Kirk Cousins, I mean, he did it with the Redskins, or when I guess they were the Redskins at the time.
Whoa.
Or I think they were at the time.
Yeah.
The C words,
Whatever they were called at the time. And then, he proved himself there, I thought. And then with the Vikings, I don't know. I think they win games and then they lose big games, but that still doesn't mean they're not going to win the division. And a game against the Lions isn't a big game. The big game is the Sunday night game against the Packers, the playoff game. And again, they've been very close. So I don't think Cousins is a bad quarterback, but I don't trust Goff yet. I think I need to see more.
Okay.
Yeah. Colin, you gotta get your pick. I'm taking the Vikings at plus 290 as kind of an upset pick here. I really like them to make the playoffs at plus 115. Colin, who is your division winner?
Give me the Lions. Give me the Lions finishing at 9-8, taking the NFC North. Packers I have at 8-9. Vikings I also have at 8-9. And just because I am a shareholder, the Packers will be second place. The Vikings will be third. So
we'd rather be
yeah.
third and get an easier schedule and better draft pick.
True. But yeah, I mean, I think that the Lions have got enough. They're gonna take it. I think it's gonna be a fun year, but let them have this one. They get the NFC North.
Mm-hmm. It won't mean anything when they're out in the first round. All right. But either way, whoever you pick, this division is not by any means no one's running away with it. Everybody's plus money, so that's exciting. The Lions, the only team not plus money just to make the playoffs. So obviously not supposed to be one of the better divisions. I would imagine it's going to be them in the NFC South, the two worst divisions in the NFC, at least.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me. I think that about wraps it up. It's going to be exciting. I cannot wait. We'll know a lot that first Thursday night game that starts it off, Lions and Chiefs. So if the Lions are for real, they can start it off hot. Otherwise, Tony, thank you for joining me.
Of course. Can't wait to watch the Lions go 17-0 this year.
Hey, I wouldn't be that mad. That'd be pretty cool.
They're going to do what Tom Brady and Randy Moss couldn't do.
Couldn't do. Colin, thanks for joining.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, man.
As always, y'all, listen to what we said, see if you agree. Bet responsibly. Let's win some money. Don't forget to hedge those bets. We'll see y'all next time. Thanks for watching.
Peace.